When I was in my 20s, I tried to do too many things. Boxing, football, tennis, gym. I didn't realize that I was losing focus and, more importantly, leading myself to burnout. I'd go through spurts of having lots of hobbies and then periods of not doing much at all other than binge watching Netflix. Now as I enter my 30s, I'm much more selective about the activities that I take on and much more protective of my time. So in this video, we'll go into how to balance the gym with other sports and hobbies. So hit the subscribe button. Let's get into it. As you can see, the scratch marks may be on my neck. I have trained jiu-jitsu today, got choked out many times. I'm always getting choked out. It's the life of a white belt. But if I stay consistent enough, disciplined enough to continue in the face of adversity, I will become a better jiu-jitsu player. Same thing with gym. How do you balance this? I get this question a lot. Number one thing you have to do is, first of all, do minimalist training, which is basically this idea that you only focus on the most important exercises. You train 3 times a week. You take a lot of rest between sets and also between training days. You focus on gaining strength on the really important exercises, and that's going to give you enough mental and physical RAM to engage in other activities like sports and music and all the other things that you actually want to do that make up a fulfilling and holistic life. Because nobody wants to be the Chad fitness influencer, gym guy obsessed, doing Instagram reels of cable crossovers all the time. So first of all, opt for minimalist training, because that's going to give you the room of maneuver to do the other stuff. Second point, specialist versus generalist. There comes a point where, when you're young, it's very good to try everything. In fact, it is probably one of the best advice you can give to a young person is like, don't box yourself in. Don't just think that your identity is fixed and you're this kind of guy, so you just study maths all the time, or you've always been told that you're good at violin, so you never try anything else. No, try a lot of things. That's how you find what things resonate with you, which kind of people, which kind of activities, which kind of sports. And then what happens is, as you get older, you kind of have to become more of a specialist than a generalist. And what that means is that you need to be selective about the hobbies that you choose. So right now, yeah, I want to do boxing. I want to do improv. Hell, I want to even do tennis. Whenever I see people play tennis, I'm like, man, I want to get tennis lessons. In order to get really good at a few things, you need to sacrifice and give up a bunch of other things and actually have the discipline to say, hey, you know what? This is a period where I'm focusing on jiu-jitsu, so I'm going to hold off on boxing. This is a period where I'm focusing on gym and jiu-jitsu, so I'm going to hold off on boxing and improv. You get it? Next point. Be protective of your time and your focus. A lot of people, your friends, your family, your acquaintances, they're just going to start pulling you in all kinds of directions. But you have a limited time slot in your day. For example, me, I gym 3 times a week. I try to do jiu-jitsu 3 times a week. I'll tell you that 6 times a week is pretty unsustainable for me, who's been training a long time and just absolutely love sports, because I also make these videos. I also coach a bunch of clients one-on-one. So what have I said no to? Dating. Like, I don't have no girl in my life. There's no romance in One He's life right now. There's no time for boxing. There's no time for improv. I just, after a lot of consideration, like I said, took up Italian, right? How do I make space for even just this? Is by saying no to things that pull me in all these directions. Like I said, no to playing football with my friends on Sunday, because I can't do football twice a week if I want to do other things. But you must become better at saying no and becoming really protective of your time, because then you can actually do other hobbies with gym. You have enough energy to undertake them and you're less likely to burn out. The chances are you clicked on this video thinking, one, he's going to give me a number. He's going to tell me to train twice gym and twice jiu-jitsu, right? You have to find your own sweet spot. I can't tell you, because it also depends on your training age, how long you've been training gym and other sports, how important it is for you. If you're an athlete that really prioritizes like athletics, or your priorities are different to mine, you need to find your sweet spot. What you can take in terms of training volume depends on a lot of things. How far is the gym from your house? How long is the commute? How many work hours do you have? Do you see, if you're working 9 to 5 all the time and you have to care for your son, again, your scenario is very different to me. So I cannot give you a solid number, but anecdotally, I will tell you, my aim is to do 3 times gym, non-negotiable, 3 times jiu-jitsu. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do jiu-jitsu. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I do gym. If I do this for over 2 weeks, I feel myself getting burnt out. That's the God's honest truth. So it's not really sustainable over the long run. I try to do it still because I really want to get better at jiu-jitsu, and you have to pretty much do it 3 times a week to do so. But most of the time, I feel my sweet spot is actually 4 times a week or 5 times a week. So twice gym, twice jiu-jitsu, or 3 times gym and 1 jiu-jitsu or 2 jiu-jitsu. It's kind of fluctuating. This actually is the next point. Become hyper conscious of your fatigue levels and adjust before you reach burnout. This is key. Right now, I'm very aware of my physical fatigue and mental fatigue as it's coming up. I can catch it when it's coming up, and I know, okay, if I continue this for 1 week, I'm gonna burn out. I just feel it in my eyes, in my brain, the fatigue building, and I can almost dial it back a little bit so that I can stay consistent over the long run. This is a super sick skill. It's hard to tell you how to do it, but it really comes from things like meditation, where you're more aware of your own body and the feelings inside your body. Then you can develop this kind of sixth sense for how much reserve. So become aware of your fatigue levels and adjust before the burnout and before the injury. Next, we're almost asking the wrong question in a way. I'm gonna flip it on you. It's like you're saying, oh, how many times should I do jiu-jitsu? How many times should I gym? You want to actually think of them not as like a zero-sum game where doing one means less than the other, even though it kind of does. You want to think of it like the jiu-jitsu helps with gym and the gym helps with jiu-jitsu. So what I do, for instance, in my gym training is I'll do exercises that help with jiu-jitsu. For example, I will do weighted knee raises, which is like pulling guard, right? Bringing your knees to your elbows. I'll do various kinds of hip thrusts, single leg, and also with weights, because you use your hip thrusting and hip escapes and glute bridge motion a lot in jiu-jitsu. I might do ATG split squats to improve my hip flexor and Achilles mobility, which generally makes me more athletic and flexible. So all these things that I'm doing, I'm thinking in my head, this is helping my jiu-jitsu. So that's kind of like jiu-jitsu. And when I do jiu-jitsu, I'm thinking all of this dynamic movement and connected movement and consistent exertion of force is helping bring a new style to my training, where in the gym it's just static movements of reps and sets. So in a way, you're kind of making them collaborative, and this little mindset shift is going to help you get out of this conflictual thinking of, oh, which one do I need to do, which one's more important. It's like, don't worry, man, when you do gym, you're helping your jiu-jitsu, you're doing jiu-jitsu training if you're smart enough to tweak it a little bit, and vice versa. Final point that I'll say, zoom out. This is actually one of the things that I feel really a lot of people struggle with, is same with weight loss, same with everything. It's like, zoom out. If you just look at your week and you're like, oh my god, I trained twice this week, oh, what am I doing? But you zoom out over the month, and over 6 months, you're like, okay, in this 6-month period, my priority was building my business. In this 3-month period, my priority was getting my body and health in check. It's very normal for us to fully engage in one thing and kind of let go on another. Very natural to have fluctuating priorities, like 2 or 3 wheels you're spinning, and sometimes gym gets more attention, sometimes it's jiu-jitsu, sometimes it's music, sometimes it's family. This is okay. Don't freak out. Zoom out and appreciate the process. The bottom line is this: think of them all as kind of like interwebbed, trying to help each other grow, rather than as this conflictual zero-sum game where if you do one thing, you can't do more of the other. Okay? All right, guys, I hope this video helped you. See you in the next one.